Method acting is when an actor fits their role into their everyday lives so they can truly experience what their character is like. Today's video, narrated by Greg, is on 5 extreme method acting examples.
Number 5. Robert De Niro in Raging Bull. Considered by many as the heir of Marlon Brando, the godfather of method acting, Robert De Niro has always went into his roles with amazing dedication. Before Raging Bull, De Niro prepared for his role in the Taxi Driver film by learning to drive a cab and going out to work 12-hour shifts as a real New York taxi driver. For Raging Bull, he emulated the middleweight boxer Jake LaMotta by going through rigorous boxing training, getting into the best shape of his life, and participating in real fights in the ring. He even trained with LaMotta himself. Then he ate his way through Italy in order to gain 60 pounds in the span of 4 months and mirror LaMotta's weight gain in his older age. He started having such severe respiratory problems that Martin Scorsese, who directed the film, worried for his life and production had to be shut down for a time. The movie was eventually wrapped up successfully, and De Niro went on to receive an Oscar for Best Actor. Number 4. Val Kilmer in The Doors. In order to get into the character of the iconic Doors frontman Jim Morrison, Val Kilmer spent thousands of dollars and hundreds of hours trying to understand and imitate the singer's voice and personality. He memorized 50 Doors songs, reportedly wore Morrison's clothes, and spent time in all of his favorite places in Hollywood. The money was spent on producing an 8-minute music video of him singing the Doors songs. Most of the hours went into interrogating Paul Rothchild, the band's producer and the movie's consultant. When Rothchild brought the Doors themselves into a recording studio and told them to guess whether it was Jim or Val singing while switching recordings randomly, they guessed wrong 80% of the time. The producer was reported saying that Kilmer knows Jim Morrison better than Jim ever knew himself. Number 3. Shia LaBeouf in Fury. Even before filming Fury, Shia LaBeouf was known for taking method acting to extremes, even dropping acid for a previous role. But he took things to another level after getting the role of Boyd "Bible" Swan, a World War II tank crew member. He joined the U.S. National Guard, spending a month living on a forward operating base, and became a chaplain's assistant to the captain of the 41st Infantry. He also got baptized and, in his words, accepted Christ in his heart. Then he went with the cast to Fort Irwin, where he proceeded to get further into the character. To make his war wounds appear fully authentic, he repeatedly cut his face with a knife and kept opening the wounds throughout the whole movie. Not deeming this realistic enough, he also had his dentist remove one of his front teeth. He has said in interviews that he spent days watching horses die and didn't bathe for 4 months so he could better understand how his character would have felt living in the trenches. It got so bad that co-stars like Brad Pitt found it hard to be around him and tried to talk to him about it. Brad Pitt did go on to praise his dedication, though, and has called him one of the best actors he's worked with. Number 2. Adrien Brody in The Pianist. As if just playing a part in a Holocaust movie like The Pianist wasn't psychologically taxing enough, Adrien Brody went out of his way to do everything possible to mimic the experience of his character, Władysław Szpilman. In order to live through the experience of being lost, drawn out of his home, and forced apart with the life that he knew, he gave up his apartment, sold his car, disconnected his phones, and left to Europe, just taking 2 bags and a keyboard with him. His girlfriend at the time even left him. And so, he dropped out of modern society and spent a year in Europe studying Szpilman's World War II memoirs and learning about how the man survived the Warsaw Ghetto and spent years hiding in the ruins of the city. He even learned to play the piano, practicing 4 hours every day. He went from absolute beginner to being able to play certain Chopin passages. Then he lost 30 pounds to emulate the famished Holocaust survivor, dropping down to 130 pounds on his 6-foot 5-inch height frame. He explained the experience during an interview like this: "There's an emptiness that comes with really starving that I hadn't experienced. I couldn't have acted that without knowing it. I've experienced loss, I've experienced sadness in my life, but I didn't know the desperation that comes with hunger." In the end, Brody delivered an amazing performance that earned him an Oscar for Best Actor and made him the youngest person to achieve this at the age of 29. Number 1. Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight. Heath Ledger's portrayal of the Joker in The Dark Knight is probably the most famous example of method acting in film history. Using method acting for roles like the Joker has unsurprisingly been a double-edged sword. As intriguing and challenging as it might be for actors to delve into the minds of such crazed characters, as likely it is to be unsettling both for the actor and those around him. An entire month before The Dark Knight filming began, Ledger locked himself in his apartment and slept only 2 hours a night because of not being able to stop thinking about the role. During this time, he experimented with different voices and created a diary full of images made out of clippings from Batman comics, pictures from A Clockwork Orange, playing cards, and pictures of clowns, among others. On the set, he never spoke to anyone out of character, and anyone who tried talking to him normally was just ignored. In the first scene shot together with co-star Christian Bale, he demanded that Bale doesn't fake anything and really hits him, and slammed himself around trying to get his point across, even damaging the tiled walls of the prison cell set from hurling himself so forcefully into them. The crew members started worrying about him, and even warned him about going too far towards the end of filming. By the time he was supposed to start working on his next movie, The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, he was suffering from chronic insomnia, pneumonia, and exhaustion. He returned to New York to recover, but shortly after, he was found dead in his apartment from accidental prescription drug overdose. This was suggested to have been influenced by the mental state that he had created by using the method acting technique so intensely, since it was what caused him to start taking sleep medication. His portrayal of the Joker received universal critical acclaim, and at the Oscars ceremony following his death, he was awarded with the extremely rare posthumous Best Actor Academy Award for his outstanding performance. Honorable mentions: Sylvester Stallone in Rocky IV. Sylvester Stallone's determination to deliver completely realistic scenes while playing the boxer Rocky Balboa got the better of him while filming Rocky IV. Stallone had said that he envisioned the characters of Rocky and rival boxer Ivan Drago as hating each other so much that their first round was supposed to be like a fight between pit dogs. Ruthless and wholly unprofessional. So he said to his co-star, "Hey, I got an idea. For the first 45 seconds, really try to knock me out. I mean, go for it." His instructions were followed, and even after 3 takes of going at it, Stallone ignored the burning in his chest and went on with the filming. He had so much difficulties with breathing later in the night that he was taken to an emergency room and put on a low-altitude flight to a hospital where he had to stay in intensive care for 8 days. Apparently, he was hit so hard that his heart slammed into his breastbone and began to swell, which could have been deadly if it hadn't been taken care of immediately. Jared Leto in Suicide Squad. Jared Leto's dedication to method acting was well known before the filming of Suicide Squad, particularly the drastic weight gains and losses in movies like Chapter 27 and The Dallas Buyers Club, for which he received an Oscar. When it came to Suicide Squad, though, Leto decided to include his cast members in the process of getting him into the twisted mind of his character, the Joker. He sent all of his co-stars used anal beads and condoms. Margot Robbie, who played his partner, received an additional love letter with a dead rat, while Karen Fukuhara got sex toys and porn magnets. He also sent a dead hog to his castmates and an envelope full of bullets to Will Smith. Another stunt he pulled was hiring a henchman to deliver a pre-recorded message and a dead pig to the cast. Leto explained his actions in an interview as imitating the Joker's lack of respect for personal space or boundaries, and attempting to create a dynamic and element of surprise, spontaneity, to break down any walls that may be there. His performance was met with mixed reviews, demonstrating that crazy leaps into method acting extremes don't always pay off. Be sure to check out our previous uploads, and remember to subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss any of our videos.